So I probably played Side Order around like 5-6 months ago, and I wanted to give a review on it. So what do I think of it? Well, let me just get into the game's plot pretty quickly. It's probably the most basic in the Splatoon series, but basically, you end up in the world of Order, meeting the Pearl drone, or just Pearl. You have to climb up the tower, you eventually meet this new character, climb up it some more and meet Marina, and eventually once you save her, the tower gets destroyed. You have to climb the tower to go stop this new villain called Order, and that's basically it for the plot. It is pretty simple. I am probably underestimating it a little bit. There are like sometimes you'll have like dialogue moments with the characters in the elevator, but it just kind of comes at random. And there are like these logs from like Marina, which I think is a nice addition. I do kind of like that it is laid back, but they could have done far more with it. If you can tell from like the early material of this, it was going to be far different, probably taking a more darker tone. There are some aspects I like about the story, like finding out that Marina was just kind of overworking themselves as they were making the world of Order, and her history with the new character. But overall, the story is just really simple, and you can tell it wasn't the main priority when it came to making Side Order. And I'll get into the gameplay soon. I want to quickly go into like the main hub area of the game. There's really not much to do in it. You could like level up your stats, you could get stuff with like the pearls you require after you lose like a level or the tower. There's just a random locker chilling out in the hub, which you can only access by completing the tower by picking out a weapon and getting these specifics, like, I don't know what to call them, like slips or something. There isn't really much going on in the main hub area. You can go inside the tower and like train if you want to with like different weapons you get. And that's kind of it. It would have been nice if you were able to go into the other buildings, but they could probably expand upon this if they continue this formula. I'll finally explain the gameplay. So you have to climb up around like 30 different floors. And basically, as you go up the floors, you get like different ships and you have a multitude of different challenges. For being the first roguelike in the Splatoon series, I don't think the execution is all that bad. I like what they did here. I enjoyed my time with the challenges and I like the color chip system. I do want to go into this game's aesthetic a little bit because I do kind of like it, but it isn't like my favorite in the Splatoon series. It doesn't have like my favorite backgrounds, but there is something to like about it. I've never realized how kind of lonely like the world of Order feels. Yeah, there's like some people hanging around there, but it just feels lonely. I do sort of dig the whole factory sort of warehouse aesthetic it kind of feels like it has. Just a bunch of giant cubes with stuff and just like a bunch of shelves holding these random items you could just see hanging out in the background. I think I just like the other environments in the Splatoon series and their different aesthetics, but there's something to like here about it. But getting into the chip system, yeah, I like it. There's a lot of variety of how you could basically like customize them in like any way you want. And there is sort of a risk to reward of getting them. Do you want to do the super hard levels to get 2 chips? Or do you want to do like the basic easy levels or normal ones? There's basically like different difficulty options at hand. You could basically do whatever you want with the color chips, like mess around with your weapons, give yourself more ammo and all that, customize your pearl drone, which I never really did. I think the addition of such a thing is nice, but I never really felt like I used it all that much. It's just like there if you want to use it. It's just honestly nice to just become extremely overpowered with all the different ways you've customized yourself. I like it. It's fun. I honestly hope to see the color chip system return in the next game. I think there's a lot of potential for such a thing to be expanded upon. When you get more weapons, it honestly just becomes more fun to play. Like the roller is like really nice to use when just charging into enemies, especially when you get really overpowered. You have a chart that shows you all the chips you have and you can basically read through like little descriptions of them. They didn't even need to add this, but when you click on the chips, they make little music sounds. But alright, let's talk about the game's levels and its different challenges. So you're able to pick through 3 different challenges, and there's like stuff like shooting a ball, shooting an 8-ball, guiding a thing to the end of the level, and a bunch of other stuff. I honestly enjoyed the challenges, but maybe they could have had a little more variety to them. For example, you know those levels where you have to like shoot the fish? What if you had to like put them in a cage or something? That would have been a nice little like deviation of like the challenge. When you climb up the towers, the levels do start to feel kinda samey after a while, but even then, I still enjoyed them. There is just something satisfying about shooting black ball things, especially when you get super overpowered. I honestly think those were my favorite levels. I think my least favorite might be the 8-ball levels, or like the one where you have to like guard an area. Like the 8-ball ones aren't bad or anything, but I wish there were more levels where there were like sort of like more hallway or felt like actual Splatoon levels. Maybe this is due to the harder levels, but sometimes like the ones where you have to shoot up the squares could get like really challenging. I don't know, maybe that's just like a personal problem on my end, and that's maybe why I don't like them too much. I do kind of like that the certain floors in this game do have a slight deviation to them, like sometimes it could just be dark or the floor just has dark ink on it. You know, it's basic, but something that adds a bit of challenge, I guess. Every once in a while, you'll stumble upon a vending machine area, which, that's nice. You know, it helps me get more chips. If you destroy a decent amount of enemies, you can get like a little description of them. I didn't destroy every single one of them to get all of these, but it's nice reading through them. Because, I don't know, in a way, they're kind of funny to read. Speaking of the enemies, I like their designs. There's something just kind of creepy about them, and I know everybody isn't going to agree with me on that. There's really not much else to get into except, like, the bosses and the music. And I gotta say, I think the bosses in this game might be the best in the Splatoon series, and they're actually new original bosses. I do like that there are different ways you can take out these bosses, so do you want to like shoot the top of this like carousel thing, or do you want to go to the bottom and shoot it down? I like that stuff. As for the music, I'm not the hugest fan of it, but there are some tracks I do like in here, and I do like its relaxed / like more chaotic vibe when you like reach the top of the spiral of order. But overall, Splatoon 3's Side Order DLC was a fun experience and a nice addition to the game, and there's a lot of potential with the gameplay they introduced here. I would love to see like the color chips make a return and see them try to like mix the normal Splatoon level gameplay together in a roguelike. So I give Splatoon 3 Side Order a 9 out of 10. So that's basically it for me, and I'll see you guys in another game review eventually, so see ya.